Good morning. Good morning. This is Jeff Phillips over at Accountingfly. I hope everybody's having a good Thursday morning. We're launching the webinar, but do me a favor on your question panel, if you don't mind just chiming in to let me know that you can hear me. That would prevent me from having to talk to you and you not hear me for the next 40 minutes. Just use your question panel and I will know that you guys can hear what I am saying. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Well, let's get going. Good morning. Thanks everybody for checking in. It's good to see some friendly faces out there, and hopefully you can see my screen. If you're not, just let me know. All right, we'll get going. I'm calling in from Pensacola, Florida, my hometown and home of Accountingfly, or at least half of our team. And I see friends and some new faces from all across the country. I am a geek about recruiting process, so you may have to bear with me through this call, but I have a feeling that you are too if you're here. And so what I like to do with calls like this, they're smaller, probably had about 50 or 60 join the call. Chime in with your feedback. If you have a best practice that you'd like to share and you wouldn't mind sharing it, I'd like to share it with the group. Um, I, as an upfront, I want to tell you that a lot of people in the call are Accountingfly clients. And I appreciate that. I appreciate being here. And to be frank, we're going to use Accountingfly as the demonstration because Accountingfly is an applicant tracking system. There are other applicant tracking systems out there in the world. In fact, if you are for certain organizations, Accountingfly isn't the right fit for you. For certain organizations, especially larger enterprise type firms and corporations, that's you need probably more like an HRIS system. So you use what is best for you, and we're happy to consult on what's best for you. However, take what we are teaching and using our product as an example and apply it to whatever you use. The point is not to sell Accountingfly. The point is to let's improve our process. Okay, and if we haven't met before, I'm Jeff. Started out in the recruiting industry, not in accounting. I grew up in an accounting firm. I'm the son of an accountant, had a family-owned firm that I started working when I was 13. I learned that I probably wasn't destined to be an accountant, but went into recruiting in the software industry right out of college and really found a passion for sales and selling into the HR community when I spent 7 years at Monster.com. I sold recruitment advertising, sort of beyond the job postings. How can you convert applicants with a job board? And for those of you who know Accountingfly, you get that we like our job board. The job board is important, but it is the things that happen around and outside of the job board that attract quality applicants. And it's the process that converts them. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. I co-founded Accountingfly 4 years ago with James and John Hossman here in Pensacola, and we are fired up to work with a lot of accounting employers, primarily accounting firms. And that's Jack, Francis, and Mally, our little baby there on the right. So, simple objective. I don't know how long this is going to go. It may not be a full hour. It may be more like 30 or 40 minutes. That's not the point. The point is I hope that you walk away with a better understanding of recruitment process. If this is below your skill set, if you are beyond what I'm going to teach, pitch in, give me feedback. I intend to keep doing these on different topics, and your feedback and what you'd like to hear us go out and research, form opinions on, and come back to you with more information, more coaching is critical. So let us know, let me know in the feedback channel what you're interested in. And at the end, I do have an offer that it has nothing to do with Accountingfly. It has to do with CPA test review that I'd like to show you because I think it's very interesting, and I'm quite fascinated by that as well. I know this is a time of year to be talking about test review, so we'll cover that when we get there. Okay, so let's talk about the process. Those of you who join my monthly webinars know that I start out with the same 3 slides because it is critical to be talking about this. When it comes to accounting talent, it seems as though we're in a period where the race is over and the talent has won. And what that means to me is a lot of different things, but getting the blocking and tackling right in a recruitment process is utterly critical for converting, for attracting the applicants and getting them into place and onboarding them. Why is the talent winning? Why is the race over? In large part, it's because for those of you, and most of you you're in public accounting trying to recruit senior associates, managers, supervisors, maybe partners even, and certainly college students. We've got more students graduating with degrees in accounting than ever before. That is great, but we are trending downward on the number of people taking the CPA exam. That's not so great. A lot of, it's a loaded slide, isn't it? This slide's from Barry Melanson from the AICPA. And I know a lot of you have seen it before, but there's some issues baked into this, right? When we have an industry that is shaped like an hourglass, there's a lot of boomers at the top who are going to retire in the next 8 years. There's a lot of college students at the bottom. But when it comes to seniors and managers especially, it's a thin, narrow middle. And that's who we're all fighting for. It's who we've tried to build a company around hiring. And it's hard. I mean, you wouldn't be on this call if it wasn't. And a lot of you who are non-partners, but you're in the administrative, COO, HR roles, a big part of this is just having to educate your partners on just how hard it is to hire seniors and managers, especially if you're in Atlanta, you're in DC, you're in San Francisco, Silicon Valley. It's mighty tough. But that's even more why the recruiting process is key. Interestingly, too, with the CPA exam, this is the number of people, new CPA examinees is going down. However, the number of people who finish the CPA exam, the throughput is also decreasing. The time to take the exam is increasing. That's harmful for the productivity, the profitability of a firm, and another issue that we're dealing with. And all issues we can solve. We just gotta know what the problems are and be able to solve them. So this is a slide we built a few years ago when we were College Frog, and when we focused primarily on college recruiting. But I love this slide because it seems like we spend all of our time doing busy work when it comes to recruiting. I'm in sales, and I think about the value of talking to a customer versus paperwork and filing and data entry and building Excel spreadsheets and maintaining paper. And I think back to my days in recruiting, and this was so true. In fact, when I was a recruiter, the way we were set up was we were in teams of two. There was an outbound recruiter who talked to people, and that you had an inbound partner, an inside partner who handled all of the meeting scheduling, appointment scheduling, interview scheduling, not just bringing in somebody to your office, but also scheduling a round of interviews with 3 or 4 partners. I'm sure you feel the same way, but talking to students or talking to CPAs, it's all the same. All right, so how do we flip it? Because what you're good at is sales. You're good at communicating. You're good at showing the vision of your organization. How do you increase that? How do you struggle with and increase the relationship between tasks and communications? Okay, and I think that what I hope what we're sharing here will try to flip that. All right. So a good process, in my opinion, does this, and this is simple, okay? Simplistic in sort of the bullet points, but you want it to eliminate data entry and low-level tasks. If you're getting paid $40 an hour, let's say for your firm, but you're doing work that could be that really should be paid at a rate of $10 an hour, like data entry, administrative tasks. That's out of whack, right? I think about that in our own company. We're a startup, we're a smaller team. The more data entry, low-level tasks that my small team does, I realize the absolute impact that has on our productivity and our internal costs. A good process helps you respond faster. And if you've seen our checklist for lateral CPA recruitment, you know that fast response is absolutely critical. It's critical because when someone becomes an active job seeker, offers are going to be thrown at them. If they happen to apply to you on Accountingfly or some other site or on your website, very quick response is critical. Not the automated response, by the way. Your personal response is absolutely necessary. And so how you structure it so you can respond faster is important. You're not the only person making a decision, right? It takes a team to make a decision. So you want to build a process that allows others to quickly um, review information, review the resume, review your notes as the front line, or in some cases, review our notes if we're doing our staffing as a service for you. And you need to, in many ways, eliminate the need for paper in that process altogether, because you got to make fast decisions. We're in a judging by the budgets that a lot of firms are spending on headhunters and executive search. Um, the relationship between time and money is inverse. You have more money than you do time, so you've got to move quickly. My favorite benefit of a good process is you build talent pools. So if you're at KPMG and you lose an audit manager in San Francisco, do you think that KPMG's recruitment machine starts with posting a bunch of jobs to try to get new candidates? Well, no, they don't. They go back to the group of talent that they've talked to before, people who've expressed interest but maybe they didn't close, people that turned down their offer, maybe their college recruiting team or college recruiting former recruits. And I really want to harp on that in a minute because that is a gold mine for recruiting. So you want a way to build talent pools. Hopefully you don't have a bunch of resumes sitting in a file cabinet in front of your desk, or a lot of folders on your laptop. I mean, that's good, but are they in a communication system so that they can receive information about you guys? Do you have an ability to quickly go back and search for them so that you can identify them and contact them? So building talent pools is critical. We have clients who are hiring people from their talent pools they added into their talent pools when they were college recruiting, but now they're seniors. And that makes for very, very happy partners and very happy recruiters. I won't go through this, but this is a part of my own process that in the coaching that we do is we have a lateral CPA hiring checklist, and a lot of these you're probably crushing, you're probably doing extremely well on, but these are the realities of how to get it done, in this sort of twisted market that we're in. You have to pay top dollar, um, and top dollar relative to public accounting. You know that the industry is going to pay 20 to 30% more on average, but you got to be competitive with talent. You got to tell your partners to be patient. You're not going to find two seniors in Atlanta that just because two seniors left, right before tax season, and you need a couple tax seniors in a couple of weeks. It's possible, but it's a campaign. It's tough. Respond quickly. Then it's the things that you got to do inside the organization of offering flexibility, work-life balance, etc. You got to know your audience. We have the 5 questions approach that we like when firms address, what are the critical issues facing your firm that the millennial accountants want to know? And lastly, all of your communications must be in alignment. Your website, your job postings and descriptions, and your talking points. By the way, we've talked about this in the past. We have copywriters at our disposal who write internet-ready job postings and internet-ready profiles that increase conversion. And that's an important thing to know. Distribute your message across a wide platform online where they are. Use video, webinars, events, use a blog, develop content, etc. So happy to send this off to anybody. We have a PDF that you can use and share internally if you'd like that. Just send me an email. By the way, my email is jeff@accountingfly.com. So the first part of the process is that you have to change your thinking about recruiting itself. Recruitment is a campaign. It's not a job posting. Posting a job is not going to get traffic. This is interesting for me as the CEO of a job board. We often have people who call us and say, we've posted a job on your site and we got no response. And, and my response is, one, what are you doing thinking posting just one job in 30 days is going to get a manager in Washington, D.C.? That's not going to work. It takes a campaign mindset, and that in and of itself is a process. That in and of itself is a different way of thinking, and also it's education. You have to educate your partners that recruiting is a campaign and not a job posting. How we approach campaigns is really our preference would be that firms recruit on Accountingfly or and everywhere else you do recruit 365 days out of the year. But sometimes you don't have the luxury of doing that. Accountingfly is a in terms of sourcing candidates is very much a process. It's an oiled machine that we have been building for 3.5 years. Many of you are part of that. And what we've developed is a network that delivers 20,000 job seekers looking at postings per month. We are we approach this in a programmatic buying on other job boards, meaning we purchase advertising on other job boards and optimize those postings to drive results. And it's a very efficient process, and it's a heck of a lot better than sort of picking and guessing. We are actually in the process of partnering with a major programmatic buying advertising agency who's going to further optimize the way we spend our clients' fees on attracting candidates. The goal for me in the future is that you could leverage a site like Accountingfly, and that would be your whole job board experience. And the other things you got to do, but we're going to get you on Indeed already. We're going to get you on Jobs to Careers and other job boards. Job boards alone capture active talent, but you got to go after the passive talent and high quality talent, and that takes content development to build your brand, to communicate your brand, and to lure in higher quality. The funnel leads, all traffic either goes to your profile on Accountingfly, your job postings on our site or your site, and it also leads to your website. Just having just flipping on the switch here drives a considerable increase of traffic into your website, and then that flows to an applicant tracking system. That's Accountingfly. That's the process that we bring to bear when it comes to sourcing applicants, and we can go into more detail later. The process of sourcing involves getting the jobs on job boards, then developing content like video that we do for our firm partners that we distribute then on social media, we distribute on our blog, we distribute via email campaigns, which drives traffic into the Accountingfly job postings, where you have the ability to tell a story and put images and really start to sell the culture and the benefits. And by the way, just this is another thing I geek out on is we have surveyed millennial accountants and asked them what makes the difference when it comes to conversion. Conversion means applies. And it's overwhelmingly in favor of what makes the firm unique over the job. The jobs are fairly similar. You think about the accounting spectrum, there's 11 or 12 real job titles that make up 80% of the work. So they're all fairly the same. It's you, it's your firm, it's your culture, it's how you treat people that make the difference. So it's important when you do internet recruiting to do the little things that convert the people. And you drives traffic into an application page where they can learn more about the posting. This is in and itself is a process, because taking your HR sort of centric job postings that maybe you pulled from, that you guys developed in-house, or you pulled off the internet, is actually a weak spot too. The job postings have to be optimized. What that means is you've got to make them. They need to be written by copywriters, frankly, not accountants, certainly. I'm not a good job posting writer, but we have taken a deep look at what converts and what doesn't, and a lot of it has to do with the sort of breaking it out, bullet points, and focusing on what you're looking for and what is special about your firm. We distribute the brands through webinars and through events. And so I use this as a point of reference of saying the first step of the process is sourcing. And nothing happens without it, okay? And The days of just getting on Monster and posting a job are definitely gone. That maybe won't last forever, but that's it. So we, in and of itself, have developed a process to attract applicants and to source applicants, and we constantly refine that because we don't win every time. It's very, very difficult. We're in the same battle that you are in, but our business depends on our ability to drive experience traffic to candidates. So don't need to belabor the point of what Accountingfly does. Many of you already know that, but even as we think about recruiting or in particularly sourcing great candidates, that has to be a process of attracting the active candidates through the job board system and optimizing that. Okay, attracting the passive candidates and higher quality, higher experienced candidates through content, and getting them to a landing page, getting them to a job posting or your website or a profile. Next, you got to make it easy to apply. Now, there's going to be a little controversy about this because you might think that, and you might be right, that an expression of interest requires a great deal of data capture, especially when it comes to EEO, or if you're a government contractor, OFCCP. Now, my opinion is that an expression of interest is a lead, and that a resume is, in some cases, even an email address is all that you need. And I'm going to liken it to sales for a second. If you were interested in buying a service that could solve a problem for you, all right, and I was providing that service to you, you became interested, you would like to see a demo of our product. Would it make sense for me to give you a form with 25 questions to fill out before we spoke? Well, I can tell you that we would never sell our product if we did that because no one would ever take the time to fill that out. They want an introduction. Well, my view on this is that recruiting is sales, and an expression of interest is merely a request to have an interview. I'd like to see a demo of your company for the purpose of trusting my entire career to it. So we got to make it easy to apply. And if you actually did a scientific poll of the millennials working in your organization, and we have done this, you would find that they do not intend to fill out long forms on the internet. They're more savvy than I am. I'm 39, and they grew up in an internet era, and they're not going to fill out your long form. So I want to show you how it's not easy to apply. And this is a firm. We work with this firm. I'm hiding their name to protect the innocent. This is the first of 3 long forms that they have an applicant fill out in order to have a conversation. That is how, the proven that the drop off on a long form is gigantic. Now, you might say, and I'm going to make a point, but I'm going to show you. So this is just, it was so long I had to break it up into 3 slides. Let's just put it that way. Now you can see how we have stripped all of the questions out of our apply process, because we've realized that millennial accountants, and that is who we're talking about when you're talking about seniors and managers, don't want to fill out your long form. You know what? They didn't want to fill out our long form either. So we took it down to 2 steps. All right. Your name, your email, are you a CPA, and drop a resume. And I will tell you that since we implemented this it has been about maybe 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. Overall in Accountingfly, the percentage of completed applications has more than doubled. That's great. We're really excited about that. And so the clients who use Accountingfly to capture their applicants are, on a macro level, seeing an increase of applies for the same investment. That's not true for every single job, but it's true across hundreds of jobs. And this is backed up by firm research. Some of our clients who have gone through this process realized we didn't want to have long forms either. We surveyed our accountants and said, what were the things that convinced you to apply to different firms? And overwhelmingly, it came out, we don't want to fill out your long form. So just, putting yourself out there on the internet or on Accountingfly is a good first step. But what good is it if you're getting 300 views per month and like 3 applicants, on your site because they don't want to fill out a long form? And I know, and I say it's controversial because there is some required data we have to capture. So, however, we're standing firm in our opinion that an expression of interest is not a job applicant. If you have Taleo and you have a high-tech HRIS system, when you bring them in for an interview, that's a great opportunity to make them fill out an application. But it's not a great time to fill out an application when they don't know who you are. You're trying to establish a connection. You're trying to establish a brand. And what the result will be is tremendous drop-off. And the result for simplifying it will be tremendous uptick. So curious if you have thoughts on that, and I'll review Q&A towards the end. Okay. All right. So we're sourcing candidates. Then we want to make it easier to apply because that will drive conversion. Now, what good is a lead if you don't have a way, an organized way to have them all in one place? That you can communicate with the candidate, that you can make decisions with your team on the candidate, right? That you can store. So what good is having a lead if you don't have the underpinnings of a process to execute? All right. So every candidate should go in one place. And a lot of firms will have an email apply link on their website that fires off an email box that they can, send an email and attach their resume. I'm actually not opposed to that. I think that's a pretty simple way. My problem with that, though, is that the emails and the applicants are going into your inbox. And I don't know about you, but I'm trying to simplify mine. And eventually those candidates have to go into a filing system. They have to go into a cabinet. They have to go into a desktop folder on your machine. So skip that step and get them into an applicant tracking system. You can use ours. You can use iCIMS, ICIMS. You can use Smart Recruiters. You can go big and do Taleo for small business. There's some excellent products out there. And some firms use us, and some of our clients use their own ATS and just have us route candidates into them. But every candidate goes into one place. A lot of our clients will just drop a button on their site instead of that email link, or instead of having a long form. So actually in Austin, who we just did a Meet This Firm video for actually, and it was great. So they drop a button that and you actually have the code. It's one line of HTML and an image that you can hand off to your IT person. If you do not have an IT person in-house, we will arrange for an IT person to come to your firm and get this thing set up for you. It is a 5-minute max task. But what happens is if you click on the button, it goes into your Accountingfly profile. You can also create a link that goes into a particular job, which I think is a nice touch too, because you're eliminating one extra step. This is all set up already in your Accountingfly profile. But the bottom line is, think of this time savings of every applicant just going into one place, into your system that you've chosen, that you can now manage candidates with. If you're afraid of losing the control, and I get that, we have firms that say, I don't want to put your button on our site because I want them to apply on our site. That makes sense. But what I would tell you is that we're going to have and this is really happening, is we're going to have a greater conversion than your site probably will, because it is so easy to apply. Now, and I think the gain in conversion is worth the losing of control, because you're making a simpler process. So every applicant goes into in our case Accountingfly, And now you're building a pipeline of applicants that you can do something with. You can communicate with them. You can set up that first round interview. What I think is interesting on Accountingfly, you can communicate with the client directly, the client. You can communicate with the candidate directly from within Accountingfly. You'll have their email address, so if you prefer the process of just opening up your email and sending an email, that's fine too. You don't have to open their resume to get their email address. You can so every candidate, one place. Massive process improvement right there. So now we're talking about things that you're good at. That I'm not sure how much we're going to help, except for that as long as you have the candidates in one place, you're going to screen and prioritize the candidate. I was actually going to show you, and this is I'm taking a technical risk here, but hopefully you don't mind. I want to log into an account. Hopefully you can see this. Right now I'm showing you the inside of a client account on Accountingfly. If you don't see that, just let me know. But I think I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, cool. So screen and prioritize. So this is how we kind of approach this. Here's some new candidates that need to be reviewed for this virtual posting in Colorado. But they want well, it's virtual in the sense they want you to be based in Colorado, but it's a work from home opportunity. I can click and quickly screen candidates just by kind of flying through them, reading their profile information, and getting a sense of the candidate. Now, what I would do when it comes to prioritization is right on the fly, as you are screening candidates, set up a tab called priority. So now you've got a tab, and you can even move this, along the steps of the process here. So of everyone that's applied, the ones that meet the minimum criteria, they're a CPA, they're located in Atlanta, they've got Big Four experience, or they've got audit experience, you can just assign them into that folder priority. So now you're working on a folder that only has the candidates that are important to the process, and you take those. So I'm not going to add them because I'm actually showing a real client account. But like if you wanted to add, let's see, Christy here to the folder, just hit this arrow and drop her into the tab. I said folder, but not tab. All right. So now you've populated the priority folder, and what your next action is a quick email to see if you could set a call. All right. So I'm happy that worked because I didn't know if I was going to be able to transition out of there. Quick screen, almost like you're scanning a book. You're looking for the basics. Then you prioritize, because now you're going to want to talk about cultural fit. You're going to want to talk about if the non-technical skills are there, and that happens on the phone screen. Okay. So if you remember just a second ago, I showed you the tabs. Those tabs go from left to right: applied, interviewed, offered, accepted, rejected. You can customize the tabs as you want and add in, multiple steps. So like, let's say you add a step called, you took the candidates from priority, and then the ones that you set a first round interview, you drop them into interview. You're going to make the go, no go call on each one of those probably. And then that next round of candidates goes into a tab that you make called second round or on site. So second round, and this is where the people in this call know this can take over and teach the course from here. But that's when you're going to want to get them in the office or do a Skype if it's a relo, and evaluate. So I'm not going to go into detail on that. What I'm going to tell you is that for us, a best practice is we have a Google Doc so that anybody who's doing an interview is going to follow the same checklist of interviews, and they can attach that document into Accountingfly, or they can just add the notes on the candidate. So every candidate has a note section, and you just copy paste the candidate. It's tagged as Jeff Phillips, on Thursday, November the 3rd at 10:36 a.m. Added the note, and then anyone else in your team can join Accountingfly, review the notes, review any documents, and then have their own interview. Add their notes. You're the quarterback of the recruiting process. You haven't printed one resume, one transcript, one round of interview notes for everybody. All you're doing is letting them log in, review candidates, and add notes. So all candidates in one place, all data is in one place. The time saving of just of eliminating a lot of the entry level of the admin and data entry is pretty profound when you start to add this up along the process. So my favorite reason for automating your process is to build folders for the stars that you don't hire. So down the left-hand navigation panel of Accountingfly, you have folders and some other options. You can add as many folders as you like. They're sorted alphabetically. You can communicate in mass to a group of candidates in one folder. You can communicate individually with a group of candidates in one folder just by opening up and firing off an email that we send to them. But the real benefit here is that if you think about the flow of candidates through the funnel, a lot of them leak out of the funnel. They leak out because you rejected them, or they leak out because they rejected you. And the ones that you like that rejected you, or the ones that you see potential in that you rejected, these are the most critical part of the process after making the immediate hire. Because what you start to do is you set yourself up to become a headhunter. Do you know what a headhunter does? What an executive search team does? They just build a list of candidates they've talked to in the past by sourcing them for other clients, and then they call them and connect with them on your behalf because they have the information advantage and they have a phone. You have the information advantage if you follow this process, and you have a phone and an email. So build folders like great tax candidates, or great audit candidates, or great Marietta, Georgia candidates. Especially on the experience side, people don't tend to change their personal email addresses. So you have their contact information and their resume. You could check them out on LinkedIn, but this becomes a checklist of great former talent. Now, here is the pro tip on this. A lot of you do college recruiting. And well, we know that 40% of the undergrads and masters go to the Big Four. What we also know is that 80% of those leave the Big Four within 3 years. And unfortunately, a lot of them go to industry, and that's fine. Everyone has a place. However, if you will add every resume from your campus recruiting program into Accountingfly or whatever ATS you use, then you're building the headhunting database of future talent. And I'm here to tell you, we have clients who followed that approach from our earliest days, who are now hiring Big Four seniors, okay, away from the Big Four into their mid-market firm because they met them on campus, they had a great relationship, and they planted a seed, and they added them to a folder. And when they have an opening, they call these candidates. Some of our clients will add these candidates' email addresses to their constant contact, their newsletter, their MailChimp, whatever, and just ping them on occasion. But if you plant that seed 2 years earlier, you're going to set up your organization to have the information advantage. You've got the candidates. It makes me cringe, like when you hear fingernails on a chalkboard, when I see college recruiting resumes in big stacks on desks of recruiters that never get filed. And by the way, we add the candidates for you. If you have a big stack of paper resumes, PDF resumes from the on-campus recruiting system, our clients send those resumes to us, and we add them as private candidates in your database. Meaning, the candidates are just stored in Accountingfly. They don't even know that they're in Accountingfly. Accountingfly is an applicant tracking system. They're in Accountingfly in your account, your private documents, your private interview notes, whatever you want. And now you've got everybody in one place for your entire recruiting funnel forever. Our vision is that firms become little headhunters. And that's what you want too, especially if you're a straight up recruiter, because that gives you the information advantage. That gives you the network, and that gives you, going back to what the KPMG analogy, when they lose an audit manager, you've got relationships that you can go back to. Where we're going in the future with this product is to set up autoresponders and to set up the ability to ping candidates with rules that you set up so that you can automate the communication with candidates over time, just like we would do, at our company when we want to remind clients to log back in to check candidates. We very much want to automate that process. When I had the client call us back the first time and say, we have to tell you something. We thought you were crazy 3 years ago when you said that because you'd import every candidate from our college recruiting and that we'd hire those people back in 3 years because we missed them on campus, right? They went to Ernst & Young. We thought you were crazy. And we're doing it, and we're saving $25,000 a pop because we held on to those people. All right. And I'm not making a claim that this process is going to eliminate the need for headhunters. I am making the claim that we have to find new channels to recruit people constantly, and this is an under-tapped gold mine. Okay. I'm checking in to see if we have any questions before we fly away here. All right. Moving on. Oh, you know the rest, right? Everybody is in one place. You have an automated way to communicate, store, share, rank every candidate in your program, and then it's up to you to close. And be sure to begin the onboarding process while you're closing. Socialize the candidate. If it's accountants or introverts, by and large, they need to be plugged into a social fabric. Don't make the mistake of selling an accountant on recruiting at your firm because you're an extroverted salesperson, handing them off to the team and they're not integrated. Coordinate communication from the team they're going to join and their manager so that they start and they know the people on day one. It's shocking to me how many top 100 accounting firms with great HR organizations don't make that handoff successfully. It's hard because we are working in a highly analytical industry with a workforce that skews a little introverted, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a process that brings them in. Because what good is a lead if you don't have a good process? What good is a hire if they're not integrated into the team? We see people leaving firms primarily for their bosses being bad managers, but two, because they don't plug in to a new team. And they get the impression that it's not going to be a happy place to work, and they start looking around. Okay, I think, okay, that's all I've got. So what questions do you have? And what feedback do you have? And while you're doing that, I want to, I will take questions in just a second. I want to change gears very quickly and tell you about a partner of ours on the CPA test prep side. And you're welcome to check these guys out. So Surgent, who you probably know from CPE, has a very interesting product on the test prep side that is although they've been around for a while, their product is very new, and it is accomplishing extreme time savings for candidates. In fact, they did a study that they can tell you about, because I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I think that it's timely, and I think you should know about this, that the students who sat through and completed their plan, answered the questions in their simulations, their total study time to pass at a rate of, I think, 89.9% was 95 hours or less. They have a pretty radical adaptive approach that focuses on weaknesses, where you got to boost that. And so I said 89% of the students passed within 95 hours or less. That's important because if you look at the next four competitors in the industry, they range between 181 hours to 279 hours of study time. The faster you get somebody into the CPA realm, the more profitable it is for the firm. And the reason they are not sponsoring this webinar, they sponsored Meet the Firms Week, but I wanted to tell you about this because they are having a pilot where a CPA student, the next 100 that sign up, will get a rate of $990 for all 4 sections. So that's about a 50% discount for the first 100 slots, first 100 people that sign up. They announced it yesterday. They have 94 slots left. But the goal of this pilot is to ramp up the instruction and to get the students to pass it in under 80 hours. So it's like a clinical trial for CPA exam using this product that is getting tremendous results. So 95 hours, they're trying to pare it down to 80. So they offer a discount. I'm going to send the guy's email address. His name is Sean Mullen, and he's fantastic. If you'll bear with me just 1 second, it's Mullen at cpenow.com. So Mullen S at CP, and that's Sean. So if you have people so 2 calls to action here. If you have new hires or people you expect to come on board in January who need to pass a CPA exam, 90% pass rate in 95 hours, and there is the pilot is for $990. That's a 50% discount for the first 100 people that sign up, and the goal on this pilot is to get them through 80 hours or less. They're going to ramp up the coaching. It's a pretty fantastic product that we have come into awareness of. The other thing to know and why you should reach out to Sean is if you don't have anybody but you plan to, get on their list. Accountingfly webinar attendees do get a discount on their regular pricing for anybody. So it doesn't hurt to have another option, especially one that has scientifically proven to reduce the time less than half of the next closest competitor. They were a really great company to work with on National Meet the Firms Week. Again, they didn't sponsor this webinar. I just know the timing is right where a lot of people are starting, and I saw this pilot they're doing, and I wanted to tell you about it. So Mullen S at cpenow.com. I just shared that with you through the text link. All right. So please reach out to them and get on their list. Are there any other questions just about recruitment process? As you're closing out, and I'll let you go, I would appreciate your feedback either by email or just through the question panel. Was this valuable to you? Is there something in particular that you learned that you did not know before? Is there something in particular that you learned that maybe you were already aware of it, but it was sort of like, I knew I should have been doing that? And is there any way that Accountingfly can help you? Question, you can fire that off to the question panel or send me an email. It's jeff@accountingfly.com. So that's all I've got. Let's wrap it up, get back to our Thursday. Thanks for investing an hour with us. It is my privilege to share it with you and to provide, hopefully, something to step up your game, because I know a lot of you are already doing great. Hopefully this helps. Thanks for being here, and we're going to wrap it up. I'll stay on and respond to any questions through the panel. Otherwise, have a great day and have a great weekend. Bye for now.